Okay, we're going to make the non-metallic parts right now. First of all, I'm going to start with the copper parts. So I paint a beige coat with Rhinos height in all the parts that are going to be in that color. After that, I'm using orange brown and orange to build the highlights, the next highlights in the figure. The first light, or it's made by using the orange brown plus a bit of pure orange because I want to make it a bit more saturated. So I'm applying this first highlight in all those surfaces. In the case of the clockwork, for example, I'm trying to build a radial highlight in the tube, which is a cylinder, and trying to follow the volumetry interpretation, classic volume interpretation of this kind of shapes. I recommend you to take a look at the volumes video. And in the case of, for example, the feet, it's a very classic shape as well, pretty similar to a cube, we can say. So I try to make a highlight in one side, following of its opposite, the maximum shadow in the other part where they are meeting each other, as you see. To build more and more highlights, I'm using now ice yellow. In other cases, I usually use more orange, but I don't want to make it too similar to the orange of the beard. So I decided to make a copper a bit more desaturated. So this is something important because if you make a beard that looks like a copper, which is in the same figure, it will look a bit weird, right? So in those cases, you have to vary a bit the color. In my case, as I said, I'm saturating a bit the highlights and medium tones more than in other cases. So when you look at the figure, you will perceive two different colors. It is great to have the possibility to see the beard in the same frame of the video, so you can compare that both of them are very contrasted, but one is hair and the other is metal, and both of them are similar but not equal. Don't forget to outline the edges always, as well as the dark lining in some areas to make it more defined and also more contrasted, which is a key part of the method of making a believable non-metallic metal. The final highlight, final outlining, better said, it's made by ice yellow and orange, pure orange, because I'm going to apply a big amount of ice yellow, so it becomes very saturated anyway and won't be a problem compared with the beard. You can see the radial scheme of the brights in the clockwork or in the tubes. This is a very classic method to interpret something that is circular and very effective. As you see, I'm outlining all the time, several times, because it's very important in this kind of processes, and you forget that most of the time. So don't do it, outline, and you will see that your non-metallic improves a lot if you don't forget that. And finally, with a turquoise color, we can add some stains of rust in different areas of the copper to make them contrast with the color. Now we're going to paint the steel parts, so I'm following the classic colors I'm using in other processes, because at the end those are very tiny parts, tiny details of the figure. So first I use dark gray that I generate by mixing black and the steel gray from Vallejo. This is a base coat. You know that I usually paint in this way the non-metallics, starting with dark colors and building the lights, starting in these dark tones. I feel more comfortable with this way of painting. The idea is to, and in this case it's very interesting because they are very basic shapes. The idea is to interpret the volumes, as you know, like a cylinder or like a flat surface. In these cases are the two shapes that we have in those elements. So those are great to practice if you understand or not the basic volumetry. And what I'm doing is just adding more and more steel gray, covering most of the parts of those elements. Obviously, I'm keeping part of the previous layers all the time, but as you see, now I'm applying more or less pure steel gray, and I'm covering maybe 70% of the surface. And now, by applying a bit of white or of white, I'm outlining. That's what I have said before. It's very important to outline all the time. So I'm outlining in almost every layer I'm applying. At the end, with those outlinings, what I'm achieving is a very strong, very solid edges in all the elements. The final brights, final highlights are going to be close to a white, maybe an off-white, something like this. With this color, you can apply final and thin lines of brights, like if it is more chrome, or even you can add rust on them with orange tones, as we did in the right arm. But it's absolutely up to you. So I leave you the decision of doing that or not. I hope you have enjoyed it and see you in the next process. Bye bye.